So, greetings aspirants. I welcome you to the UPSC guide, and today we will be discussing a daily mains answer writing initiatives. So, let's look at the question. So, it talks about the world is facing an acute shortage of clean and safe fresh water. What are the alternative technologies which can solve this crisis? Okay, and you have to also briefly discuss any three such technologies, citing their key merits as well as demerits. Okay, so identifying the focus points, that is the shortage of clean and fresh water. Also, you have to cite the alternative technologies which can solve this crisis and discuss these technologies with respect to their merits as well as demerits. Okay, so the question is divided into three parts. Now, how to start it? How to start it? So, you can start with your basic data or the fact about the availability of fresh water, that is only 2.45% of the planet's water, with only 1% being easily accessible. Okay, okay, and almost the fresh water is tapped in glaciers and snowfields, leaving just 0.007% for the 8 billion people on the earth. Okay, so water insecurity is going to be a huge problem in the coming years. Water insecurity. Now, talking about the body part, okay, you have to just briefly talk with respect to statistics how the world is facing acute shortage of clean and safe fresh water. You can cite here the example of Bangalore as well as this city of Cape Town in South Africa. There was the day zero was observed. Okay, these examples can be cited here, as well as you can see some data about it, that water use has grown over twice the rate of population increase in the last century, where most of the water is being used by agriculture as well as industries. Okay, with faulty cropping patterns. Okay, due to the least water efficient crops sowing as well as the industries. Okay, industries are exploiting the water on the huge margin. Now, if you see, by 2025, half of the global population may face water crisis. Half of the, almost 4 million of them are going to face major water crisis. Okay, and intense water scarcity could displace around 700 million people. Okay, so this is disaster induced displacement. Okay, disaster induced displacement, and by 2040, 1 in 4 children worldwide will live in the area of extreme distress, high water distress areas. Okay, so moving to the your next part of the question, that is suggest some alternative technologies to tackle these issues. Okay, so you can also talk about the desalination technology, that is involves membrane technologies such as reverse osmosis, that is the main mechanism involved or the concept involved into it, which help convert seawater into a potable water. But this is a very electric intensive as well as technology. It's very costly effect. Okay, it's a very costly affair, very costly mechanism. Second is the wastewater treatment. Technologies like electrocoagulation and membrane bioreactor can help treat wastewater for its reuse. Okay, then third is the use of Internet of Things as well as artificial intelligence. Yes, to prevent or identify the leakages and monitoring water distribution systems with the help of SCADA system. Your new technologies, upcoming new technologies can help this, as well as use of carbon nanotubes. Okay, carbon nanotubes under nanotechnology for for filtrations or to remove organic, inorganic and biological compounds. Okay, and the last one is the use of photocatalytic water purification. Photocatalytic water purification. It uses a photocatalyst and ultraviolet rays to get rid of water and toxic substance and contaminants. This is same as your water filter. You use it at the home. Okay. Okay. Now moving to the next part, that is what are the merits and demerits of such technologies. Okay. Starting with the desalination technologies, like I told, demerits, if you see, it is high energy consumption and carbon intensity. High energy consumption with respect to fossil fuels as well as electricity, very okay, and disposal of concentrated salt into oceans can harmful to the marine ecosystem. Okay, and what are the merits? It can assure a reliable source of fresh water from the seawater, because seawater is in abundance. And second is the diverse water supply during the drought. Drought conditions can be tackled easily. Moving to the second technology, that is wastewater treatment technologies. What would be the treatment? Yes, initially it is a capital intensive as well as it is a high energy intensive. Okay, requires very much of technical expertise. Also, it can if it is dismantled or broken, it can lead to again water effluents as well as water pollutions. So this requires a high amount of expertise as well as technological mechanisms. Okay, but what are the merits? It promotes water reuse. Okay, so recycling as well as your cyclic economy can be observed or implemented here. Therefore, second, prevents untreated wastewater from entering ecosystem. Yes, both sides are very much of correct. And the last one, that is carbon nanotube filtration system. Okay, so what would be the demerits? That is expensive and limiting the large scale deployment. Yes, large scale deployment experiments are not yet been carried out, and as well as it is a very cost effective or cost affair. Okay, these are expensive things, as well as carbon is involved. Therefore, environmental concerns or release of carbon nanotubes or how to dispose them, that is one of the demerits of this filtration system. But it removes various contaminants including bacteria and heavy metals, as well as if you see the demerit of this, it also it also kills the required minerals which are present in the water. Okay, and also it involves a faster filtration rate. How to conclude this? Okay, so concluding this with a integrated approach. Okay, integrated approach involving advanced technologies like desalination, wastewater treatment, and artificial intelligence provides a innovative solutions, as well as you can see some traditional methods of water conservation as well as filtration can be deployed here. Okay, you can quote some of the examples from the traditional methods also. Okay, thank you. Let's look at one more question. So what is the disaster resilience? How it is determined? Describe various elements of resilience framework. Also mention the global targets of Sendai Framework for the disaster risk reduction 2020 to 2030. Okay, so this question is related to your GS3 disaster management topic. Okay, it is talking about disaster resilience. That is your first focus point, how it is determined. Second, what are the various elements involved into the resilience framework, and one more thing is your Sendai framework. Okay, so starting with the definition of disaster resilience, what is it? It is the ability to withstand, prevent, and recover from the harmful effects of natural hazards. What is it talking about? It is talking about the capacity or the ability to withstand, prevent, and recover, okay, from the harmful effects of natural hazards on people, places, and the environment. Okay, and if you move to the body part now, how it is supposed to be determined? So dividing into the four factors, that is the qualitative assessment carried through the indicators like disaster resilience index or baseline resilience indicators, disaster resilience index, and baseline resilience indicators for the communities. These are the quantitative assessment. Second, if you see, there are qualitative assessment parameters or the evaluation parameters, that is analyzing the community cohesion, local knowledge, traditional local knowledge, and the adaptive or mitigative strategies. Adaptive or mitigative strategies. Okay. Then a risk mapping based on the geography as well as the intensity of the hazard can be carried out, identifying hazard prone areas and assessing their exposure level to the dangers. Okay, that is risk mapping of your geographical areas. And fourth is about the capacity analysis. Capacity analysis, okay, how evaluating the resources like your buffer stocks as well as your health as well as your social security, social infrastructure. Okay, then the skills, your personals, that is NDMA personals as well as your security personals, their skill assessment can be done, and building the institutional capacity, that is the deployment of different technologies to easily tap the potential, okay, the potential as well as the danger of the upcoming disaster, building a institutional capacity. Okay, these are the four parameters where you can determine your disaster resilience. Now coming to the next part. So what this comprehensive resilience framework typically involve? Again, you can draw a diagram here. Okay, a diagram can be drawn as well as, okay. So first thing is risk identification and assessment utilizing a multi-hazard risk assessment index, or you can make it a multi-hazard risk assessment dashboard, of indicators index, okay, and carrying out the vulnerability assessment, that is the risk mapping. Second thing is talks about risk reduction, implementing structural, non-structural measures to mitigate potential impacts. That is calculating your risk reduction, okay, risk reduction capacity through structural and non-structural measures. It also involves natural as well as man-made. Okay, natural, protecting your mangroves, protecting your barriers. Okay, coastal barriers. This acts like a disaster shock absorber. Okay, protecting your wetlands. And in structural, that is deployment of Dopplers, radars, early warning systems. Okay, early warning systems. Third is your preparedness, that is deploying early warning system, evacuation plans as well as community disaster preparedness programs. Okay, carrying out some drills, carrying out some awareness programs, okay, within the school curriculum. Yes. Then fourth is your financial protection, that is establishing a risk transfer mechanism through insurance, very important, and contingency fund, disaster risk contingency fund. Okay, there should be a financial protection to the people who are affected by this disaster. Okay, and insurance can help into it. And now the fifth part is about the building back better. Building back better. Okay, you have a new opportunity to reconstruct it and make it more resilient. Okay, reconstruct it and make it more resilient. Okay, building on the basis of green building parameters. Okay, green building parameters, using new technologies or innovative technologies within your building parameters. Like Japan, you can quote the example of Japan. Okay, now the last part, that is the Sendai Framework for disaster risk reduction sets up the 7 global goals. So just if you apply your common sense or common knowledge, what can it be? The 7 parameters. Okay. So if you see the mota mota क्या हो सकता है कि first of all, the mortality rate should be, what is most important? Human life is most important. Therefore, it talks about reducing the global disaster mortality. Second would be the decreasing the number of affected people, their displacement, their livelihood security, their nutritional security. Okay, this should be talked about secondly. Then thirdly, it talks about GDP, talking about the economic loss. Okay, economic loss. It is almost, India faces almost 2 to 3% of GDP loss when a disaster occurs. Okay. Fourth point is talking about the critical infrastructure, like your social infrastructure, hospitals, medicals, okay, all these things, roadways, transport system, police system, okay, education system. Then fifth is about the talking of increase the number of countries with national and local disaster risk reduction strategies by 2020. Okay, it's a decentralized approach to tackle this disaster, that is center, state and local levels. Okay, sixth is talking about the international cooperation through Sendai Framework. Yes, exchange of practices, traditional practices, exchange of technologies, okay, exchange of military helps, okay, like India does. Seventh, you can also write some examples which India has done. Seventh is substantially increasing the availability of and the access of multi-hazard early warning systems and disaster risk information and assessment by 2030. It is talking about technology transfer as well as sharing expertise across the international players. Okay, and then how will you conclude this? That is, disaster resilience is crucial for sustainable development. Okay, disaster resilience is crucial for sustainable development, which requires integrative efforts across sectors and skills to build safer, adaptable communities worldwide. Okay, integrated approach where all these things, sustainable development goals, Sendai framework, inclusive growth, all these things can be integrated into your tackling into or you are addressing the disaster resilience factors. Okay, thank you.